1:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Romesh Piris and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The IMF technical assistance reports to be submitted to Parliament. The party leaders meet to discuss the no-confidence motion against the Speaker next week. Operation Nuclear apprehends over 900 suspects in 24 hours. The water consumption increases by 15% due to prevailing dry weather. A new Director General appointed to the Civil Aviation Authority. International news. UNRWA says Rafah Aid Center hit by Israeli forces. In sports, Sri Lanka, Australia and England women under 19 to play a tri-nation series involving both T20 and 50-over games. President Ranil Wickremesinghe stated that the IMF technical assistance reports will be submitted to Parliament soon. The President in his latest X message said he will submit the reports to Parliament following a request by TNA MP M.A. Sumandran during talks on Tuesday. The President met TNA MPs on Tuesday to discuss the IMF assistance program. MP Sumandran voiced a key concern regarding the availability of the IMF technical assistance reports. The President further said that during discussions with the TNA, how the government remains dedicated to following a structured roadmap for economic stability. President Wickremesinghe expressed that TNA MP Sumandran's acceptance of the invitation to engage in the dialogue underscores the spirit of bipartisan cooperation we seek to foster. The President added that he hopes the other party leaders will join these efforts, setting politics aside for the sake of our country and the people. The party leaders will gather for a crucial meeting to deliberate on the no-confidence motion filed against Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene. The meeting aims to address the pressing issue with the legislative framework. Deputy Speaker Ajith Rajapaksa emphasised that a comprehensive discussion on the motion as well as the Parliament agenda for the coming week will take place on the 19th and the vote on the no-confidence motion will be taken up at 4:30 p.m. on the 20th. The first week of March, a coalition of opposition members of Parliament submitted a motion of no confidence against Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene. 44 opposition members of Parliament submitted a motion of no confidence against Speaker Mahinda Abeyewardene, and the heart of the motion lies in the alleged violation of constitutional principles when passing the Online Act. Education Minister Dr. Susil Premachandra says that provincial schools and national schools will enter into one category in the future without any disparity as provincial or national. Accordingly, a plan will be implemented to make national schools and provincial schools into one school type. The minister said that the implementation of this plan is being discussed in the Sectoral Monitoring Committee, and although it is not possible to implement it at once, it will be implemented step by step. The proposal to merge these two school categories has been presented by the Education Reforms Policy Framework. Several issues were identified since there are two school categories in the country, especially when teacher transfers and distribution of resources. Speaker on teacher education, the minister said that knowledge of teachers should be updated in line with the modern advancement of the ever-advancing world. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
At People's Bank, we empower your pride. People's Bank, pride of the nation.
Water consumption has increased by 15% with the arid weather conditions. The National Water Supply and Drainage Board said as a result, water will be supplied at low pressure to people living in higher ground and those living in outermost areas of water projects. However, the Water Board added water cuts were not implemented in any area thus far. The Water Board requested people to use water sparingly in view of the current situation. The Department of Meteorology said the existing dry weather condition is expected to continue into next month. Meanwhile, due to the extremely dry weather prevailing in the western slopes of the Central Hills, the water level in the Castlereagh and Mausakala reservoirs is dropping rapidly. Engineers in charge of these reservoirs said. Although the water level of both the reservoirs has dropped rapidly, the hydroelectric power plant engineers said that there is currently no obstacle to daily hydropower generation. Air Vice Marshal retired HMSKB Kotakadenia has been appointed as the new Director General of the Chief Executive Officer of the Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka. This appointment comes in the wake of the retirement of the former Director General of Civil Aviation. The official appointment letter was presented to Air Vice Marshal Kotakadenia by Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation, Nimal Sitipala de Silva, following the approval of the Cabinet of Ministers for the appointment. Before assuming the role of Director General of Civil Aviation, HMSKB Kotakadenia served as a board director of CAASL since the 12th of August 2022. The CAASL said in a statement, Air Vice Marshal Kotakadenia's extensive experience and strategic vision make him well suited to lead the aviation sector into a new era of growth and development of the aviation industry in Sri Lanka. And that ends local news now.
You have got a transfer.
That's all right, sir. They are all our children.
Right decisions with noble intentions bring pride. At People's Bank, we empower your pride.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Sri Lanka's law enforcement authorities have apprehended 986 suspects during Operation Yuktiya. These arrests were made during a 24-hour period that concluded at 12:30 a.m. this morning. As part of the ongoing investigation, 107 suspects are slated to receive detention orders. Additionally, asset investigations will commence for 3 individuals believed to be connected to criminal activities. Furthermore, 42 other suspects will be referred to rehabilitation. During the operation, authorities seized a substantial quantity of illegal substances, including heroin, ice, cannabis, and Mao pills. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
CIB New Year offer. Valuable gifts and gift vouchers. 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
In Watchlight this afternoon, the Sri Lanka Computer Emergency Readiness Team of Sri Lanka, or CERT, says hacking incidents on Facebook are increasing rapidly. Sri Lanka CERT said it has received over 700 complaints so far this year, highlighting that it is a significant increase. The agency advised the public to refrain from sharing Facebook passwords with other parties under any circumstances and for users to update security features on the profile. The Sri Lanka CERT said failure to do so may lead to one's personal data being changed and unnecessary trouble. And that came to you in Watchlight.
CIB New Year offer. Valuable gifts and gift vouchers. 25% discount for bank cards till 10th of April. Visit CIB today. CIB revives once always.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines first. The UNRWA or UNRWA says Rafah aid center hit by Israeli forces. The EU agrees €5 billion boost for military aid to Ukraine. And the US House passes bill to force ByteDance to divest TikTok or face ban. The UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees says a member of staff was killed and 22 others were injured when Israeli forces hit a food distribution center in Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip. UNRWA Chief Felipe Razzouni said attacks on its facilities had become commonplace for blatant disregard to international humanitarian law. Rafah is crammed with an estimated 1.5 million Palestinians who are seeking shelter from Israel's ground offensive elsewhere in Gaza. The UN Secretary-General has warned that threatened Israeli assault on the city could plummet the people of Gaza into an even deeper circle of hell. More than 31,200 people have been killed in Gaza in the military campaign that Israel launched in response, according to the Hamas-run Health Ministry. The European Union countries have agreed to provide €5 billion for military aid to Ukraine as part of a revamp of the EU-run assistance fund, handing Kyiv a timely boost as its forces struggle against Russia's invasion. Ambassadors from the EU's 27 member countries agreed to the overhaul of the European Peace Facility Fund at a meeting in Brussels on Wednesday after months of wrangling with EU heavyweight France and Germany at the center of much of the debate. The fund operates as giant cashback scheme, giving EU members refunds for sending munitions to other countries. The U.S. House of Representatives overwhelmingly passed a bill on Wednesday that would give TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance about 6 months to divest the U.S. assets of short video app used by about 170 million Americans or face a ban. The bill passed 352 to 65 with bipartisan support, but it faces a more uncertain path in the Senate, where some favor a different approach to regulating foreign-owned apps that could pose security concerns. TikTok's fate has become a major issue in Washington. The House Energy and Commerce Committee last week voted 50-0 in favor of the bill, setting it up for vote before the full House. And back to the headlines of the world news. The UNRWA says Rafah aid center hit by Israeli forces. The EU agrees €5 billion boost for military aid to Ukraine. And the US House passes bills to force ByteDance to divest TikTok or face ban. Well, that ends the world news. Up next is development news.
Development news.
The India-Sri Lanka Joint Working Group on Renewable Energy held its inaugural meeting in Colombo. The inaugural meeting of the Joint Working Group on Renewable Energy, established under the Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation in the field of renewable energy in July 2023, convened in Colombo. Co-chaired by Sri Bhupender Singh Bhalla, Secretary of India's Ministry of New Renewable Energy, and Dr. Sulakshana Jayawardena, Secretary of Sri Lanka's Minister of Power and Energy, the meeting aimed to bolster bilateral collaboration in renewable energy initiatives. During the meeting, the Indian delegation gave detailed presentation on India's achievements in the renewable energy sector, citizen-centric schemes offered by Government of India to encourage investments in the renewable energy sector, the National Green Hydrogen Mission, and India's cross-border electricity trade. Sri Lankan side highlighted the present status of the power sector in Sri Lanka and the contribution of renewables in the energy mix. And that was development news.
Moving on with sports news.
Ashley De Silva, CEO of Sri Lanka Cricket, announced that Sri Lanka, Australia and England women's under-19 will play a Tri-Nation series involving both T20 and 50-over games during the month of March and April 2024. The matches will be played in MRICS Hambantota and GICS Galle, while each team will play T20 games and 50-over games to 250-over games during the contest. The winner of the contest will be decided based on the accumulated points based on match wins, while the focus of the series is to provide vital match exposure for the under-19 women's cricketers. Meanwhile, in tennis news, world number 2 Aryna Sabalenka fell to a surprise defeat by American Emma Navarro in the 4th round of Indian Wells. Sabalenka, who successfully defeated her Australian Open title in January, lost 6-3, 3-6, 6-2 to the 23rd seed. The home hope was cheered on by the California crowd as she reached her first WTA 1000 quarter-final. Moreover, Carlos Alcaraz clinched a straight-set victory over Fabian Marchand to reach the quarter-finals and continue his title defense at Indian Wells. World number 2 Alcaraz is bidding to become the first player to defend the title since Novak Djokovic in 2016. He will face Alexander Zverev in the last 8, and the German 6th seed recovered from slow start to beat Australia's Alex de Minaur 5-7, 6-2, 6-3. And that was sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීර හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Lanka Pay announced the 6th edition of Lanka Pay Technovation Awards to recognize the payment technology innovators recently. The de facto recognition started and one of the most looked-forward events amongst the country's banking fraternity kicked off with the much-awaited online poll for the most popular digital payment product of the year on the 9th of February this year. The grand finale is scheduled to be held on the 20th of March at the Shangri-La Hotel in Colombo. Initiated in 2017, Lanka Pay Technovation Awards is Sri Lanka's first and the only payment technology innovation awards event which aims to recognize the pioneers of technology innovation in the financial service sector in the country. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account. NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce is deeply concerned about the decision by the Cabinet of Ministers to temporarily suspend the Parati execution law. The Chamber is concerned about the potential impact on the overall financial market as a result of the cancellation of the Parati execution law. The Chamber acknowledges the concerns raised by the Sri Lanka Bankers Association regarding the suspension's effect on loan recovery. This in turn could lead to higher borrowing costs due to the increase in risk premiums arising from delays in realizing collateral and reluctance of the banking sector to lend to genuine, non-defaulting businesses due to the perceived challenges of foreclosure related to tangible security. A robust debt recovery framework is essential for maintaining financial stability and facilitating economic activity. That was economic news.
Weather report.
The Department of Meteorology predicts showers or thundershowers to occur in parts of the western Sabragamua and southern provinces and in the Nuwara district during the evening or night. Mainly dry weather will prevail elsewhere in the island. Sea areas, mainly fair weather will prevail in the sea areas around the island, the Meteorology Department said, adding that the winds will be easterly or variable in direction and wind speed will be 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Sea areas around the island will be slightly to moderate. And back to the headlines of the news broadcast. The IMF technical assistance reports to be submitted to Parliament. The party leaders meet to discuss the no-confidence motion against the Speaker next week. Operation Nuclear apprehends over 900 suspects in 24 hours. The water consumption increases by 15% due to the prevailing dry weather. A new Director General appointed to the Civil Aviation Authority. International news. UNRWA says Rafah aid centre hit by Israeli forces. And in sports, Sri Lanka, Australia and England women's under-19 to play a Tri-Nation series involving both T20 and 50-over games. Well, with that we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation and it's back to Victor Raj.